call this November 20th, 2024 meeting of the Platting Board to order. It is 6:31 p.m. May we have roll call?
Kevin Cross.
Here.
Skylar Quinn.
Here.
Sarah Catherine Bryan.
Here.
Patrick Jones.
Here.
Ashley Ploy.
Here.
Kyle Merka.
Present.
Brenda Butler.
Here.
Brandy Pennington is currently absent, but you have a quorum.
Thank you. Chair Mormon did not seek re-election, so I'm going to be running this meeting, and just I have limited experience in this capacity, so I appreciate everyone's patience in advance. Thanks. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
I do have one item on the minutes that needs to be corrected. It was under item F, new business. S4 group was listed as $.
What page is that on, Kyle?
Page 3.
Page 3, F. Thank you. Under Craig Bennett with S4 Group.
Yep.
Thank you.
With that correction, do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
Move to approve.
Moved by Ms. Butler, seconded by Ms. Jones. Any other corrections or objections to the approval of the minutes? Hearing none, the minutes are approved. On to Ms. Pennington has showed up, just to correct the record. Moving on to special order of business. Does anyone have any disclosures?
Mr. Chair, I do have a disclosure in case S12804. I do own a commercial real estate in that area to the proximity of that site. I do not have any direct financial interest in that case, and I believe I can be impartial as long as this body agrees I can participate.
My ruling as the chair is that you can participate if you are able to remain impartial. Any other disclosures?
Through the chair.
Mr. Cross.
Yeah, because I'm got that new Platting Board smell on me, and I'm new, just joining the board here. I will not be participating in the consent agenda since I was not in action on the previous meetings. Thank you.
Thank you for that disclosure. Are there any other disclosures?
If you guys weren't here last month.
So we were not here, or I was not here at the last meeting, so I will not be doing, do I need to read those out?
No, just the consent agenda.
Sounds good.
I was also absent from the October 2nd meeting and will be abstaining from the resolutions in the consent agenda.
Thank you all for those disclosures. Moving on to election of the chair. Would anyone like to nominate someone as chair?
I would like to nominate Skylar Quinn as chair.
Second.
I wanted to see if we could just open the floor up for a second for conversation on that. So,
Speak.
Skylar, I know you were vice, so you're acting as chair now. Is that something that you're in? I know Kevin's just came on board. He's had some experience on it. I wanted to ask you if you want to serve in that capacity, or if it's something that you wanted more time to kind of learn the board, or what? You want to at least ask before we went and voted on you?
I think this is a strong board, and I'd be happy to serve as chair if that's where the votes lie.
Perfect. Thank you.
Through the chair, I have a question. Is there a vice chair on the planning board? Can you remind me?
I'm the current vice chair, and then after this, I was going to do another nomination for the vice chair.
Thank you.
So, is that a motion? We had a,
So Brandy, if you want to.
mo-
It would be.
There you go. Brandy,
motion moved by
Brandy.
Brandy, seconded by Mr. Merca. Ms. Pennington, would you like to speak to your motion?
I think Mr. Quinn's expertise.
Gotta go.
Mr. Quinn's expertise and interest in the planning board in our community is sufficient for me to feel confident in this nomination.
Thank you, Ms. Pennington. Mr. Merca, would you like to speak to your second?
I wholeheartedly agree, and I think that his breadth of knowledge in all of these things will contribute greatly. So no matter who sits in that chair, we're all going to struggle a little bit with the ins and outs of a meeting, and I would much rather you have the capacity to absorb all that we do than have to stress about a meeting. So you'll lead it just fine.
Thank you, Mr. Merca. Let's call the vote.
Yes.
Does it pass? That's
7-2, it's 7-1. I had to put him in as Ryan.
okay.
So you're good. More than 5 is passing.
Okay, we have a new chair. Thank you all. Would anyone like to nominate someone as vice chair?
You can?
Without hearing a nomination, I would like to nominate Mr. Jones as vice chair.
I will second that.
Moved by myself, seconded by Mr. Merca. I guess I will now speak to my motion. I think Mr. Jones has done an admirable job on the board, brings a lot of knowledge. He does a good job reviewing everything, and I think he'd do great as vice chair. Mr. Merca, would you like to speak to your second?
Having sat next to Mr. Jones and just from a distance seeing the notes that he makes, I would completely agree. He's 100% in and understands this significantly, and I will support this motion. So,
Thank you. Moved by myself, seconded by Mr. Merca. Let's call the vote.
Mr. Cross?
Yes.
Thank you.
And with that, the motion passes. Congratulations, Mr. Jones. Moving on to, wait, actually we have informational items. We have abbreviated plat action summaries for 10/7/24, 10/28/24, and 11/12/24. Can we have a motion to approve the informational items? Moved by Ms. Butler, seconded by Mr. Jones. Are there any objections to the informational items? Motion for the informational items? Seeing none, the motion passes. Moving on to the consent agenda. We have 4 resolutions for approval. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Moved by Ms. Pennington, seconded by Ms. Butler. Are there any objections to the consent agenda or any discussion? Hearing none, the consent agenda is approved. Moving on to new business. Can we have staff's presentation in case S... Oh, sorry. Read this guy. Read this. Okay. The Platting Board meets each month on the first and third Wednesday except holidays as regular meetings. If the Platting Board fails to complete its agenda for its regular meetings, the board carries over the remainder of the agenda to the following meeting. The procedure by which the public may speak to the Platting Board at its meeting is, 1, after the staff presentation is completed on public hearing items, the chair will ask for public testimony on the issue. 2, persons who wish to testify will follow the time limits established in the commission rules of procedure. A, petitioners, including all his/her representatives, are given 10 minutes. Part of this time may be reserved for rebuttal. B, representatives of groups, community councils, PTAs, etc., are given 5 minutes. And C, individuals are given 3 minutes. Third, when your testimony is complete, you may be asked questions by the board. You may only testify once on any issue unless questioned by the board. 4, any party of interest wishing to appeal shall first file with the planning director within 7 days of the board's decision made on the record a written notice of appeal, a written notice of intent to appeal in accordance with AMC 21.03.050 A4A. Following approval of the written findings of fact and decision, any party of interest may, within 20 days, file an appeal by filing a notice of appeal and paying the appeal fee and deposit in accordance with section 21.03.050. The notice of appeal may be filed with the planning director on a form prescribed by the municipality. If the appellant is not the applicant, the appellant's notice of appeal shall include proof of service on the application. With that, can we have staff's presentation in case S12804?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This preliminary plat and site plan is a request to subdivide one tract of land with subdivision under AMC 2103-200E to create 8 commercial fragment lots. The request is being made to accommodate the redevelopment of the subject area as a Kindle automobile dealership with 7 fragment lots for future development. So there's an associated short plat, abbreviated plat case for preliminary plat approval that will create the one tract of land which establishes the parent parcel that the proposed fragment lots are based under. This case tonight also vacates an existing telephone, electric, and drainage easement. Staff has requested that the condition of approval at the first plat is recorded first, thus creating tract A1 before the final approval of this commercial fragment lot site plan gets recorded. Staff analysis, no reviewing agencies had objections to the proposed commercial fragment lot site plan. The property is zoned I-2 heavy industrial district, and the underlying tract A1 meets the minimum lot size and width required by the zoning district. As stated, AMC 2103-200E requires a commercial tract site plan to show building footprints, parking areas, driveway access, landscaping to the property, drainage, and any fragment lots to be contained within the commercial tract, and proposed declarations. Staff is requesting a condition of approval prior to provide a copy of the recent declarations, covenants, and restrictions right before we record the plat. The traffic engineer department commented that the proposed commercial redevelopment of this site requires a TIA, traffic impact analysis, addressing the site access and impacts to mitigate any traffic, and a modification to the median within East 100th Avenue right-of-way. This is also going to be handled during the development phase. A copy of the approved traffic impact analysis should be provided as staff is requesting this as a condition approval. Myself, I've talked with the traffic engineer department as well as the petitioner's representative, and we feel that that should be finalized in the coming weeks. So with that being said, the department recommends approval of the plat subject to conditions A 1 through 6. on the staff report found on page 5. Thank you.
Thank you, staff. Are there any questions of staff? Mr. Merca.
Yeah, I had a couple of questions. I saw in a couple areas that they designated a stream, that a stream needed to be added to the plat. I'm not sure that there really is a stream there, being familiar with that area, but there's certainly drainage, so I was curious if that is required on the plat, or if it is not.
Through the chair, Mr. Merca, I did not write the short abbreviated plat that kind of, as I stated, with the drainage easement. We can take a quick brief look here at, actually, it's probably the best question that the petitioner's representative can answer.
That's fair.
Yep.
Are there any additional questions of staff? Ms. Butler.
Yes, I know that the reviewing agencies are like traffic and all that kind of stuff, but doesn't NSTAR count as maybe a reviewing agency? Because they do object to this without the easement for the gas line?
Through the chair, so yes, Ms. Butler, if we look at staff report, page 5, the very first condition is going to be resolve utility comments. So the petitioner is going to have to go meet with NSTAR and work it out. And then NSTAR has to, before the final plat comes in, they have to take, the petitioner provides a copy of the plat, the final plat, in that configuration with their easement on it. And then they're going to stamp off that says approved as shown. So once they resolve all that, and then that we capture all the utility that way. So it'll be addressed, yes.
Okay, along with the agreement that they want.
Correct.
Thank you, Ms. Butler. Are there any other questions of staff?
I had one. It may not be best directed to staff, it may be for the petitioner, but in looking through some of the other requirements, I saw that there was a landscaping visual enhancement, L1, required at industrial lots where it meets the collector. I did not see that on the plat as a designated easement or anything. I don't know if L1 isn't required to be shown in that way, if it's just as they do the plats, it comes up. But.
Through the chair, Mr. Jones, yeah, that would just be a development with like the building permit. They're just going to show that. It doesn't necessarily be an easement.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Any other questions of staff? Hearing none, it's now time for the petitioner's presentation. And please state your name and spell it for the record.
Hi, my name is Kate Silber, K-A-T-E, S-I-L-B as in Bravo, E-R. And I'm a land use planner with Dowell. Yes, so hello everyone. I'm here tonight representing DeMar Properties or Kendall Auto, which is the property owner for this platting request. So here's a aerial view of the project site. It's located at 111 and 151 West 100th. The legal description is tracts 1 and 2, Fairweather subdivision, and in total it's an area of about 31.6 acres. And as staff mentioned, it's all zoned I2 heavy industrial. So you can see some of the former uses on the site before the development that was mentioned. There was an auto and RV storage that had office and warehouse space associated with that. The vehicles have been removed and the buildings have been demolished from Tract 1. Tract 2, buildings still remain. They are warehouse and office and light industrial uses related to a construction product company, and those buildings will ultimately be demolished as well. So just a little bit of background about the planned development. It's only a portion of the site that will be redeveloped as the Kendall Auto Dealership and Service Center. You can see the draft site plan on the screen. And the development is actually not dependent on the plat. The building is entirely within existing Tract 1. So the building is not planned to cross any existing property lines. So site work has begun. There was a conditional use permit for land reclamation earlier this year. And they also have obtained fill grade and footing and foundation permits. And then the remainder of the site along King Street is not needed for the Kendall development. So this plat is proposing creating smaller fragment lots along King Street, and those would be development opportunities for other commercial or industrial entities. So this is a two-step platting process. So the first step is that abbreviated plat. It received a preliminary approval earlier this month. It combines the two existing tracts into one commercial tract, Tract A1. It also vacates the telephone, electric, and drainage easement that was along the property line between Tracts 1 and 2. It's no longer needed. That was also approved as part of the abbreviated plat. And this is a required step before we are able to create the fragment lots as part of this long plat. So that's why we're here today. And so the proposal is to divide Tract A1 into 8 fragment lots. And the benefit of fragment lots compared to traditional lots is that they provide more flexibility. The development plans along King Street are not known. It's not Kendall development planned. So along fragment lot lines, you can build buildings across the fragment lot lines. Utilities can cross the line. So say a developer needs 2 of the fragment lots, then they would have more space to do so without having to worry about replatting. And then another benefit is that driveways and other site amenities can be shared within the entire commercial tract. So here's a closer view of our proposed plat. You can see fragment lot 1 at left. To the west is about 24 acres, and that's the site of the Kendall Auto development. And fragment lots 2 through 8 are about 0.9 to 1.4 acres each, and those are located along King Street. And this is a similar situation to the Target development to the south. They have smaller fragment lots along C Street, and that's where all of those smaller businesses are. So it's a similar arrangement. They're all on the same commercial tract. And here's another view. You can see we have a variety of easements along the perimeter, as well as a drainage easement on the northern end. Technically, it's designated as a stream within that easement. So we have that shown on our civil site plans as part of the development within that drainage easement to the north. And we've also been coordinating with various utilities already about their easement needs, and we will finish that as part of the final plat process. And then you can also see at right, we have 2 shared driveways on 100th Avenue and 2 on King Street, and those are proposed to be shared within the commercial tract, and those are being reviewed as part of the traffic impact analysis that was submitted recently to the municipality and also DOT. Yeah, so I'm available for any questions, and we also have a representative from Kendall here tonight if you have any questions for them as well, and thanks.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for the petitioner's representative?
I do have a question that I'll jump in on here. My question is regarding access. So you mentioned with the 2 driveway cuts there off King Street, the intent is to share the access there. With that being a collector road, I know we're looking to limit driveway cuts going on to King Street. So is that going to be defined as a plat note or anything that no one can connect from their different fragment lots to King Street, or is it just something that will kind of be taken care of through traffic?
So the traffic impact analysis covers the shared driveways. So MOA has the opportunity right now to review those 2 driveways, and they will be shared between the fragment lots. Oh, and there's also a plat note I should add on C Street. There's no access allowed.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions? Okay, with that, we will open up the hearing, or we will open the hearing to public testimony. Thank you. Is there anyone wishing to testify? Anyone at all? Seeing none, the public hearing has been closed. Would you like your 5 minutes to provide any rebuttal to the strenuous public testimony?
Sure. Just thank you for your questions, and I appreciate your support of this plotting case. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. The public hearing is now closed. What is the will of the body? Do we have a motion? Moved by Ms. Sarah Bryan, seconded by Ms. Butler. Ms. Sarah Catherine Bryan, would you like to speak to your motion?
Thank you. So no reviewing agency objected to this proposal. The presentation was clear, and it comported with the fulsome materials in our packet. And there were no objections from the community, so from that I infer that there is community support for this motion. I would move to approve a request to subdivide one tract into 8 commercial tract fragment lots, subject to conditions 1 through 6, on page 5 of our staff packet.
Thank you. Ms. Butler, would you like to speak to your second?
Yes, I'll mirror Ms. Bryan's comments. Also, yes, traffic has no objections. Any of the easement issues with utilities has been addressed. The plat notes will be clear. The stream plat note will be clear. There is no public comments, no public objections. Bayshore Clat Community Council had no comments and no concerns, and I see that it fits very well into that area, and it's nice to see it get built up. So,
Thank you, Ms. Butler. Would anyone else like to add findings?
I have some additional findings I'd like to add. So in looking at the sizes of the various frag lots, they look to meet all the minimum sizes per table 2106-2. As I had asked the petitioner about the access on the King Street for the official streets and highways plan, we're looking to limit the amount of driveway cuts on the King Street, and it looks like that was taken into account with that. So those are the 2 additional findings I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Mr. Cross, would you like to add findings?
Yeah, I'll just be voting in support as well. This is an excellent reutilization of I-2 land. There's a significant shortage of I-2 developable land in Anchorage, and so providing more lots in more areas for development is warmly received. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cross. Would anyone else like to add findings?
I want to echo Mr. Cross's sentiment about there is a shortage of I-2 zoning and available land for commercial development, so thank you very much for considering the fragment lots and giving more opportunity to our community.
Thank you, Ms. Pennington. Would anyone else like to add findings? Speaking for myself, I also think that this is a great way to subdivide the land and utilize it for future projects, and I think it was a creative idea, so I'll be supporting it as well. Shall we call a vote?
Mr. Cross.
Yes.
Thank you.
The motion passes. Now opening up to board member comments. Do we have any board member comments? Mr. Cross.
Yeah, thanks for having me back. As you know, I just have a question. I served on 8 years. I was chair for 2. When did we quit doing the pledge? Okay, well, I would like to suggest that we begin our public meetings in this fantastic country that we live in with the pledge at future meetings, if I may so humbly request. It was normal process of business as long as I could remember, so I'm kind of surprised it's not continuing. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cross.
Don't we already swear an oath to uphold the Constitution and the laws of Alaska when we join the Platting Board? I mean, I'm all for this, but just none of us are going to commit sedition, right?
She's like, right?
Your mic's not on either.
That is just a procedural thing that you can do. You don't have to put a motion for it. It's just something you have to take into account this time.
So I can just end it right now.
I just do it next meeting.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Cross. We will speak more about that next meeting and look at adding that into our agenda.
I'm happy to stand alone.
It doesn't have to be on the agenda to do it. It's never been on there before.
Okay.
You guys can just choose to do it.
Do we have any other board comments?
This is a really cool board. I'm excited to be serving with you guys.
Thank you, Ms. Pennington.
Welcome back, Mr. Cross.
Today is my birthday. Thank you, everyone, for attending my public service-themed birthday party.
Happy birthday, and what a good way to spend it.
I would just like to congratulate you both for, you absolutely deserve to sit in the chair seat, and you definitely deserve to be co-chair. You guys are amazing, and I'm just so proud and privileged to be able to work with you, and welcome, Mr. Cross. Planning board buddy, but yeah, I'm happy for you both.
Thank you, Ms. Butler. I'd also like to welcome Mr. Cross to the board. He is a wealth of knowledge. He's been on this board before, and he's going to bring a lot of information, a lot of expertise to this board again. So I think we're really lucky to have him, and I'm looking forward to him serving with us. Anyone else want to say anything?
Are we meeting in December?
Yeah, you can call it now.
Can I have a motion to adjourn? Moved by Mr. Cross, moved by Mr. Jones, seconded by Ms. Butler. No objections. Motion passes, right? The motion passes. Thank you all.